Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We are back at Surviving as a Trader, and I think today's agenda is to make some quick fixes and a very good question to ask. But first, I don't know if you noticed, but we have no more unknown signals, and that's going to help us with the whole farming situation in terms of gathering different types of ingredients such as like cabbage, pumpkin, wheat, and things like that. That does drop on the unknown signals. I don't know what I did, but I've kind of lost them in this save. So we're gonna see if we can revive it somehow by going into the menu system and changing and updating the advanced options. So let's just get that done first. All right, so we're in our edit settings. Let's go to advanced. So I think a good way to solve this problem is to uncheck unknown signals, hit OK, and then load up the game, and then come back and hit it again so it's on. Maybe that will reset it. I'm not sure. Good way to test it, I guess. All right, so I went into the save game with unknown signals unchecked. Exited, saved it, and now we're gonna come back and hit unknown signals. Hopefully this will fix it. Now another question: do we want to get rid of the weather system? I guess we can leave it for now. As much as I hate it, but yeah. Anyways, another thing is that I'm supposed to do a mod list for you guys, and I keep forgetting to do that. Free time is not really on my hand all the times, so I would hope to get it done as soon as possible. But if you're wondering, yes, 34 episodes in, but also in the first episode you would see different mods that I do use listed here. But there were some changes midway where I did remove a few to avoid glitches, and we added a few things as well. So if you want to go through all the mods once again, I put Abandoned Settlements version 2, and that's just to help with the scavenging in the very beginning, and I still continue to do it just to get the ice, because there's no other way to get ice really. So you do need to have some kind of mod to get ice in our scenario where we can't drill anything. All right, so the next one is Modular Encounter Spawner, or modular encounter system, which coincides with the abandoned settlements. So that's the only way to make them spawn correctly and things like that. And from there, I put some animated stuff: animated buttons, cryopods, jump drives, ore detectors. There was a gyroscope one, but it's a separate block, so I got rid of that one. Build vision, very generic one. Your camera panning, rotating is another one I like to use. Another animation, cockpits, easy inventory, my favorite, in conjunction with build planner. HUD, modern and fancy color. Then we have plant and cook, which coincides with the eat, drink, sleep, repeat mod. That's the survival piece of it. And we did add survival reborn spacewalk for the jetpack movement, where it's not too cheesy to use your jetpack, and it requires a lot of like maneuvering, a lot of bottles of hydrogen and everything like that. So then it makes it harder for me to actually just go from point A to point B easily. Like I can go from my normal base to the economy base with just a jetpack and a couple bottles. With the survival reborn spacewalk, it makes it a little bit more difficult, where I could still do it. It's just gonna take more time because you do run out of hydrogen fairly quickly for your jetpack. You can sit there and wait and regenerate the hydrogen and then keep going from there. So this gives that little bit more of a difficulty in terms of the jetpack. Then we added the GPS distance helper. So when we look at our GPS in the menu, in our controls, we'll see how far things are without having to constantly look at the GPS locations all throughout the screens. And then of course we have pressurize your room. So that means certain things in your base or whatever needs to be pressurized to be usable. Then the latest thing we have is the medical room. So you can't use the medical room unless your space is pressurized. And of course, the green room for us is the farming stuff, plant and cook. Those things turn off if you don't have pressurization. So that's all the mods I've used in this type of scenario for Surviving as a Trader. Definitely can use other ones, but this is the base of it. It's a fun scenario where, you know, we can't drill anything and we are scavenging and trading for the most part. All right, so we got to turn back unknown signals, which we actually just did. And actually one thing I want to turn off is, let's see here. Actually, we already had it off. It was cargo ships. and random counter. So they should be off because of the modular counter spawner, the MES. That is perfect. Okay, so that works out fairly well. I can throw in the rest of the stuff on or off, doesn't really matter. I think we have what we need to do, and hopefully unknown signals will return now. All right, we are back in, and hopefully, like I said, unknown signals will spawn again. If not, it's a bit of a loss. I don't know how else to get that fixed, to be honest. So yeah. All right, let's situate ourselves really quickly with some food, water. Sleep, we're good because we just got up. And I think that's good for here. Okay, so there's a few things I wanted to do. And that is regarding the economy base or the trade station that I have next to the economy base. And it's just these kind of like minor updates and things like that that I just want to try out. Don't mind this welder here. It's trying something that didn't seem to work, and that's gonna be part of today's conversation as well. But I wanted to also see if buying hydrogen and oxygen is actually something we can do fairly easily, and is it worth doing? I know we could do it because we did try it already, but is it worth doing? I don't know. So we're gonna give that a shot. Okay, so I'm just gonna load up a good amount of materials for a hydrogen tank into our dual cargo ship system here, and hopefully we can lift off without it being too heavy. Okay, that's not too bad. All the materials for a hydrogen tank, I guess, is in here, but it's missing stuff, I think. Because don't a large cargo container require... Not a large car. Don't a hydrogen tank require metal grids? No, it doesn't. Okay, so we're good. As long as we have everything. Small steel tubes. Do we have that in here? We do. I think we should be... Okay. Yeah, we should be good. I think we're okay, but if not, I think we have materials in our other station anyways. Before we actually go too far with that, gonna get a little bit of the oxygen tank materials as well. Just in case. You never know. Alright, so one other conversation I was just talking about was actually if you're in a cockpit, you could build stuff from what I've heard and seen. And that is as easy as hitting, when you're in your cockpit, Control G. And you see here, I can put a block here. So I was playing around with this, but one of my biggest questions is, does this really work? Because I wasn't able to plop this thing on anything with or without the materials. And that's why I had the welder in the front. Just to kind of test this out. But it didn't work for me. I'm likely missing something, but yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have actually built anything with your in your cockpit, because that it's gonna be useful for me because of the spacewalk mod that you saw just before, which hinders me from building really tall sometimes. Well, of course I could do building some scaffoldings and things like that, but it would be easier if I could build out of my cockpit. So something to look into in the future. All right, we are at our trade station. And of course, we can park this thing right here because we have a connector right in there. All right, we are good to go. Okay, so a few things before I start doing the hydrogen test and everything like that is I need to retract this thing. In terms of the whole issue I had previously with the timer block and the event controller, or not really the event timer block, but more the event controller, where it's not connecting when it gets cut off. So where is the connector now? So the connector equal base. So we just need to unlock it and retract most of these here. And that would be, I would think, piston H. So we reverse this. Nice and slow, luckily. I thought for some reason I had increased the speed of that. Luckily I did not. Yeah, that would have been pretty awful. Okay, so we are gonna grab an event controller and we're gonna plop it right on the connector. So this way it's not gonna be a subgrid when it comes to the connector itself. Because right now the event controller is on the base. So that is acting as a subgrid right over there. So that could be the problem, potentially. And this is why we're going to solve for that issue. So we're going to have to just retract it. Hopefully I retract just enough for it to come out. It looks like no. And also we're hitting the ground now. So this is going to be a little bit sketchy. A bit rubbing off the ground. I hope it could come out though. Let's just hope so. And that's just not enough. All right. Nope, it is enough. It's just touching the ground, so I'm not gonna be able to get it out actually. Of course, I could just reverse this guy and that wouldn't work out. Here we go. So that should bring it out. Or not. Missed it by like a block. Jeez. So we're gonna have to reverse everything just to get this done? I guess so. Alright. A good thing about putting event controller on this guy here now is also because we will be able to have an access panel without me going upside down like we've been doing for quite some time. So we could add it kind of like this way or this way. I think this way would have worked fine. Or we could add it against the piston head. Nah, let's just do it this way. Alright, so now if we... Well, we could figure this part out in a second. But yeah, we'll just gotta reverse everything back around and then get everything connected and we should be good from there. So we got everything reversed here. Now we're gonna just reverse this guy. Now we can mess with the event controller. Hopefully that doesn't break. Alright, we're good. Okay, so now the event is going to be when the connector is ready to lock. And that's going to be for the EcoBase connector here. So when that happens, EcoBase connector should lock. And of course it's not doing that now because it's already ready to lock. So that kind of tells me it's going to do the same thing as before, unfortunately. There we go. So that's locked. So when it becomes unlocked, it's still ready to lock, but economy based one turns yellow. Is it going to lock itself now? No. So it's got to be something with the economy base that it's doing that. So it's not ready. It's definitely ready to lock, but because the event controller here is basically saying connector is ready to lock as the event, and it should lock, but it's not. And it's the output action 1. So yeah, the only options to fix this is to when it's ready to lock, we have to tell a timer to go reverse or retract, and then after a second or two to extend, so then it has that connection there. But then what's the point of doing that? Because you can easily just say the timer to do a quick lock every few seconds. So I think we're gonna have to keep it like that for the time being. Unfortunate, but that's just the way it works, I guess. So that is the problem with that. So same thing. Let's go switch lock. And it should be ready to lock on its own with the timer. But at least this time around, we have a block where we can mess with the controls here. But yeah. All right, ready to lock, and it's locked. And that's because of the timer, not the event controller. That's a bit unfortunate how that kind of works out, but sure. All right, so before we get in there, let's think about playing around with that large hydrogen thing. And I didn't miss buying oxygen last time somehow. Even though I said I was going to test that, and that just never happened, I guess. All right, so hydrogen tank. That's about 1 million liters. 1 million liters, looks like. That's all you have to buy to fill it up. Now, large tank, I'm not even sure what that is going to look like. Let's plop one up here for the time being. A little out of place, but it's just a test for now. We will have to potentially move this a little bit later down the line. All right, so that hydrogen tank is done. That's the large hydrogen tank, or general hydrogen tank. How many liters is this? 15 million liters. Okay, so if we go to the store and purchase it, is it worth it? The oxygen tank itself, same thing, 1 milliliter. All right, so shouldn't say 1 milliliter because that doesn't sound right. But yeah, all right. The last time it looks like I just bought like one bit of hydrogen and filled up my small tank somehow. I'm not even sure how that works. But maybe because it was just more than enough. So, all right, so they're not selling hydrogen right now, so they are selling oxygen. So we have to figure that out later as well. Okay, so it's selling at KL. So a KL is a kiloliter, which is 1,000 liters, if that's correct. That means we need to buy 1,000 oxygen in terms of kiloliters to equal one full 1 mil tank, 1 million liter tank, or the equivalent should be 1,000 kiloliters. But I'm not sure how it happened before where I felt like I just bought 1 unit of hydrogen or something like that and filled up my hydrogen tank. So that was kind of weird. So, all right, so let's just proof of concept here. Static grid oxygen tank. It already has 186 in there. So, oh, I'm reading it wrong. So according to here is 100,000 liters. Did I not see that right? Probably not. So if that's the case, then I just need to buy 100 units. So that should be the case. But let's just buy one for now and see what changes there. Store list is updated as I was talking. Great. Now it has hydrogen. And not oxygen. Before we get that far, let's just buy out the iron ores and stuff like that. Ooh, it's finally gotten cheaper. $8.91 for iron ore. All right, so that's just for now. All right, so the hydrogen tank, hydrogen, if now it's at 0, so it's actually 15. Yeah, that's right, 15 million liters. So oxygen is 100,000 for the oxygen tank. The small, oh no, it was right. The small hydrogen is 1 mil as well. So it's right. Okay. So let's just, again, proof of concept. We just buy 1 unit, which should be 1,000 liters. So let's see. Did that not fill up? Okay. The first purchase cost me 174 and nothing happened. I'm not sure why. But yeah, it is 1,000 liters per purchase. So that can get fairly expensive here. So to fulfill 15 million, we need to buy 15,000 units here. 15,000 units will cost us 1.3 million. All right, so that's not terrible in terms of getting hydrogen. So then we technically don't even need the ice. And when I say technically, that's just for jetpack, and if we buy oxygen for our oxygen bottles, and also air pressure and things like that. But we still need ice for our farming, so that's the problem there. But this looks feasible. I don't want to buy a full tank just yet, but if we were to purchase like 1,000 kiloliters of hydrogen, it wouldn't be that bad. All right, so then now we have a million volume of, or million liters of hydrogen. So we should be good to go there. But since we're here, let's start selling all our junk. Not junk, all the things that we can sell. All right, so there's all the stuff that we can sell, that we can produce. And we have 5 million space credits once again. And of course, we could probably finish up some contracts. The metal grids, I feel like we don't have that many, but oh, we do. All right, there you go. Free money. Extra money on hand. We're going to get closer to the 1 mil mark than I thought possible. Oh, no, I guess not. So we are at, oh, we're so close. About 1.1 million away to getting that 10 mil mark that we were talking about at one point. Okay, I think we're all set. We have a few more pending, but we were able to collect a few and also gain more. So now we are at the 10 mil mark, finally. But of course, we're going to get dwindled down if we decide to buy other things too. So other things would be like uranium. Ooh, uranium ores. We need to buy uranium ores. And that's actually fairly cheap for ore, actually. Silver ore, we could possibly purchase too. What else is there? That should be about it. Magnesium powder, always expensive. I think uranium ore is more worth it because we could potentially produce them and then sell them at a fairly high rate. So that's a good thing to have. Okay, so our hydrogen tank, the large one, as you can see here, is 13% filled with 2 mil worth of hydrogen. So you can always fill up bottles now, which is great. So large or small, either one's fine. Perfect. Okay, I'm very curious. How much does one uranium make? One uranium ore. 0.02 uranium ingots. All right, so that's pretty bad. Okay, so I have 936 interior plates to make here. Interior plates, I only said 500. Okay, so now we know we may need more, so we can up the production here. But this is the best thing about the auto crafting from IZ's inventory management system. We easily produce all this stuff without any issues, and we can easily go back and forth and sell those things as quickly as possible. So this base is fairly established, good for trading, easy money, and the biggest question for today is actually a point somebody has said in the comment section as well. Why don't I move here? And truly didn't really have an answer as to why I shouldn't. We already have a base here established, so why should we have a separate base 3 kilometers away? Well, 3.5 kilometers away, all the way over there and here. That would avoid us having to make a tanker, although I kind of do want to make one, but a tanker to shift back and forth from here. I think one of these days we are definitely gonna move our original spot over there back over here. Not back, but over here. So we gotta prepare a station for ourselves. So we don't necessarily have to build like right on here. We could leave this as is, no problem, and then kind of stretch out the base kind of like over here if need be. What is that? And not connect anything to it if we don't have to. So like I want to keep the cargo containers separate so we can easily make the money and everything like that from there, and see what is actually being produced, see how the trading is, so that we know if we are buying just iron ores and iron ingots and selling steel plates and all the rest of the stuff here, that we're making a decent amount of money. So we could easily stretch it out, as we mentioned before, a little bit further back if we need to, and then start our base, our farm, everything here, and then we can easily sell herbs too in this case, instead of going back and forth, because yes, going back and forth is a time killer that we should try to be a little bit more efficient with. So let's plan for that eventually. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna get that done, but it's gonna have to be done. Okay, so those are the minor things I wanted to take care of today. And of course, that was the big question. Should we move? Now, some sub question is, how should we move is another thing. Should we dismantle everything from that base so we can transfer it here? Should we just leave it there and we can always come back and forth to it if we ever need to? And should we just put some thrusters or wheels on it and travel them over here? Is another option. I mean, the latter would be funner and more dangerous to do and more entertaining, but I don't know if I want to do that. Truly, I think the best option would just be to actually create a whole new base and everything like that too. And of course, we could borrow materials from here as well. I think when I just grab that steel plate, it is probably gonna produce more since I grabbed it out of it. And looks like I may have to rename these LCD screens to the right order, because the listing is a little off. All right, so the font is completely tiny now. But yeah, it's gonna make these steel plates because I jacked it from it. It's not a problem. Okay, so the font size I'm gonna do for both here. Oop, too much. Yeah, that's tiny. Is there any way to make that any bigger? Okay, there you go. That's not bad. Not sure why it didn't leak down here when I was making it bigger before, but whatever. This kind of works out, and data pad is a problem. We gotta ignore that one. And same with hydrogen bottles. We need to ignore this one. And I think we're good. Okay. So in terms of, I think we ran out iron already. So taking from it, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's gonna have to happen. All right. So instead of wasting too much blocks with full block or materials with full block, we could use a half block because the ground is sloping here. And we don't need a full block because it's still going to glue onto the ground anyways, it looks like. And actually raises a little bit up here. That's interesting. Right, so I think if we build back here, we should be okay. I mean, we don't have to be that far back. We could be right around here, actually. So we're going to have to build the home. And I feel like maybe... I know I spent a lot of time in doing the exterior of the other home, the other half station, but maybe a new start would be also a good thing too, potentially. Because as you see in the other one, the flooring was kind of rough because we used panels from here and we can't do anything on the bottom. So not the best thing, because we could use some plumbing on the bottom instead of plumbing it in weird ways up top and everything like that too. So I don't know how we should leave this, but if we are going to do plumbing on the bottom, we should probably put the plumbing on the bottom first and then put in a platform above it. So that would probably be better, and it'll be a little bit off the ground too. So maybe this is not the way to go. Or we could leave it as that. And then throw in the plumbing towards the bottom and stretch it out over here. So we would have to kind of build underneath this platform here. And this is the same issue because this platform is built with the panel on the ground as well. So not sure how we're gonna plumb this all out. It's the same problem that we have there. Okay, so maybe we get rid of this whole thing, make the pipe going this way instead. But like I said before too, we don't necessarily need to pipe it together for now. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it for now. I'm not gonna pipe the two different systems together just for the time being. If we do want to create the plumbing on the bottom, we're probably and likely gonna have to make the house one above. So it's gonna be up here. Like, yeah. So that's gonna be the bottom floor, if anything. I'm gonna put a placeholder for now, and then we could just use panels to build out the floor as usual. So that's an idea. I don't think I'm gonna make the house today. I'm just gonna make kind of an idea here, really. And I'm not even sure what kind of house I want to do, but we will figure that out eventually. So now we can at least throw in a conveyor junction piping system down here, and if we need to connect on top, we can build it from here and up, instead of wasting all that space down here as we did before with the other station. So at least now, if we were to build kind of like a ramp and everything like that, it wouldn't look too bad. I think we do need two sets of stairs to really hit the ground. Yeah, it looks like that's gonna be the case, which is not too bad. So it's a little bit elevated, so it'll be okay. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could elevate it even more, kind of like a second floor, and the bottom would be the garage, potentially. But the hab station itself does not need to be super big either, so we got to think about that as well. And of course, we're gonna work with some odd numbers here. So how wide do we want this thing? Right now we have it, or gonna have it as 5 wide. Maybe we go 7 wide. I think 7 wide would be more than enough for a hab station / base. I think so. And then lengthwise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just do that. Make it 11 in terms of length. And we'll just set the floor plans for now, and we will design it out however we like in the near future. Okay, so here on the corners, so it don't look like we're floating, we could add in... Actually, you know what? Let's leave that for now for a second. Hold on. Is this built it correctly? I would probably prefer not to put a block in the middle like I was just thinking there. But would like to do kind of like the half blocks out here if we can. So there'll be one there, one here, just to square out the corners. And we'll build upwards and everything like that. And it covers as a wall as well. But my main concern is, well, now where's the main entrance? So we made a rectangle, so we got to figure out the main entrance. I would probably prefer it to be the long side here. So this is one entrance, and that might be another entrance too. So should we do it that way? Probably not. One entrance is better than 2. Especially if it's going to be an airlock situation. So, question for later, I guess. But yeah, I kind of want to build this thing based on 3x3 windows. That'd be 1, 2, 3, and then this would be a half block. So 1, 2, 3, and this would be a half block, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then a half block. Okay, so we gotta stretch this thing out a little bit more, by 2 blocks. One, 2, 3, and this is half block here. Okay, so we'll stretch it out by that much more, and it's kind of borrowing the same design as we had previously, except this time we're making it more of an open base concept, or a a more glass concept in a way. So that way it will look pretty decent. The bottom floor, should we just leave as panels? It's kind of looking a little odd, but I mean, it's not terrible either. What we can do is like using half blocks or something, or some kind of slope block. So maybe something along the lines of this, if we have to kind of look like a support system. And then the whole bottom, we could also cover the whole bottom too. We don't necessarily need to show it. And that's where we're going to put the plumbing and be able to travel and walk around it too. So that could be a thing. And then the underground vent thing that I was planning to do might actually work out. But pointless. Alright, so that is the main section. We don't have the door section up just running just yet. But I would imagine just 1 block for a door is more than enough. So that should be okay. And then we have the same length. I think we have a very similar length as before our other base. So it shouldn't be that bad in terms of redoing the convoluted airlock system that we just put together. But at least we have it and know how to do it. So maybe it's time to revisit it and make it more simple, or simplify it when we get the chance to do that. But this is the idea. It's looking a little longer than I should have it, but it's not bad. I mean, why not have a big house if we can? And we just gotta make kind of the archways here. So basically, we're looking at like 1, 2 high up. It's ideal. We don't necessarily need it to make it any higher than that, but we could. I don't think it's necessary. I think 2 high up is going to be more than enough for the hab station. Anything more than that, it's just it's just too much. And if we do want to make it higher, then we should just go ahead and add maybe 4 high up, so we can add like the large cargo containers in here, or whatever the case is. So those are some of the things we probably don't want to have. We just want it to have its own kind of bases and stuff like that. So we should probably avoid putting those type of things in here. So this is the framework I was thinking about, which is the same as the original base that we have as well. And we could do the archways with the half slope blocks here. Like so. And kind of surround this whole thing with windows and other designs, or whatever the case may be. Should we do it that way for now? Alright, I think that should be okay. So it'll be 3x2 windows, not 3x3. I was thinking 3x3, but I think that would be a little too big for a hab station. So I think this height is not bad, to be honest. We definitely don't need to make it too high up. Okay. So that's our framework for now. It could change later down the line for sure. So that's also a possibility. And if we want to round these things out, we could. Like, we could just throw in like these half slope blocks instead. Or I think we're going to have to use these blocks and round it up that way, because these are half blocks, I forgot. So should be okay. I don't know. It might look okay, it might not. I don't know. We can always change it. It's just a random kind of build that kind of builds off of what we currently have. So let's see how that kind of all works out. So with the window, I do want to put it against that, so we can build stuff within the inside. So hopefully that becomes airtight, and I think it would. Hopefully it would, at least. But I think this works out okay. It looks like we need to get some girders on us. Alright, so bad news is unknown signals. That ain't coming back. It is what it is. So we are stuck with mostly what we got, and that is going to be our tofu soup for the most part. But I think that's pretty much set here. I'm probably going to kill a lot of our steel plates. We probably don't even have enough steel plates. So we're going to have to transfer some from the old base to here, or continue to buy and hopefully have more than enough. But of course, we're going to weld everything up as much as we can. Alright, so that's as far as we can go for the time being. So not looking too bad. Like, looks exactly like the old base. Not much of a difference, except for we're going to use a lot more glass here. So that is a significant change, I would think. But yeah, we could hide this piece too, so we don't need a show underneath. So we'll definitely get that hidden. Okay, so it looks like we have a lot of things to move, because we are not going to have enough steel plates here, is one thing. So we're going to have to grab a whole bunch of steel plates, a whole bunch of glass for the large panels that we have. And I think that's it for the time being. We might grab some metal grids as well, potentially. We'll see, but let's do this quick little trade session so we can gather more stuff. So even, again, 99 for iron ore. It's getting a little bit better than what it was before. All right, so we're on the lower end of the 10 mil once again, but we hopefully could probably sell some stuff back out and gain some of it back. So see right there, 10 mil once again, but I think there's an acquisition or two that we can fulfill. And there was. And now we have 12 million. So definitely surpassing what we originally had in mind in terms of a goal in space credits. So that's not too bad. But of course, we're going to have to travel back and forth just to maneuver some materials, because we don't have to suffer and wait for the station to recycle, right? We likely don't want to do that, I would think, at least. All right, but with today's testing in terms of purchasing hydrogen, that's gonna do a lot for us. Why? Because we can look for another economy base, or go to another economy base a lot quicker this way. And why we would need hydrogen is because we have to go to space for most of the economy bases that we have that's available. I mean, we do have one about 150 away that's not on Mars, but above Mars a little bit. I think it's this one right here, and it'd probably be worth going to as well. And the hydrogen will be the ticket to get us there. But we should definitely see if we can find additional economy bases on Mars specifically, so we can easily go there back and forth and collect stuff. So we do have to do some exploration in order to find them too. For some reason, I think it should be about 10-12 kilometers away from another economy base, if anything, if there is one that exists. So we do have to kind of go in one direction, explore, and go to another direction, explore. We did explore one direction, going to the economy base that's 100 and something away, and didn't find any other things. So it's gonna be hard to say if we're gonna find another one fairly quickly or not. I mean, if we get lucky, then yeah, but we're not usually that lucky. Especially with the fiasco from the latest session, from the prior session from today. All right, we're connected, and I'm gonna go to the ship sorting and basically fill up the large cargo containers with stuff. So steel plate is gonna be number 1, and looks like we can't even fill up that much. Steel plate was 1, glass was the other one, because we did get a lot of glass from the recent scavenging mission. We got a decent amount of uranium, so we could take that with us as well, and we should take it with us if we can. And I think that's it for now. We could jack or take the iron with us, the iron ingots. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take as much as I can. We don't have that much space, as you see here. And taking all this might be a problem, because I might not be able to fly, because it's gonna be really, really heavy. But let's see if it will. Nope, we are stuck. Okay, so we need to drop some stuff. It's likely, for whatever reason, always seems to be the steel plates that are fairly heavy. Okay, got rid of 1,000, and it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad at all. But yeah, we do need most of that stuff for our house build. So let's finish up the framework at least. So we don't have to come and do that later down the line. But yeah, we are extremely heavy. Look at this. I'm barely able to push forward. Actually, it looks like for some reason something's off. Literally. This thruster's off. Is it off? It's on now. Okay. This thruster should be off because I turned it off. Yeah, these are off. Okay, so for whatever reasons, that one over there was off. This is on. Okay, so we're good. So when it comes to our gas, all those should be on. Not sure why one of them was off. Okay. So now we should be able to pick up some speed. A little bit better. It's not fantastic, but a little bit better than what it was before. Right, we are landed. And we should be able to pull up... Ooh, ouch. A bunch of steel plates. I should have put some steel plates on myself, actually, but sure. And our assembler should have taken the iron that we took in as well. So we should be getting a large amount of materials now that we can sell, at least, and make a decent chunk of money as well. Okay, so we definitely need to change out a little bit of the patterns here, because we have all that plastic pattern all over this whole home or hab station, which we need to get that changed just a tiny bit. All right, so that's not looking too bad, actually. I mean, add some glass and it shouldn't look too bad. Another thing is that we could add the farm in here too. There's a nice bit of glass going there, so there's a bit of a greenhouse on its own, which is a good thing. And it's going to be an airlock system that we're going to adapt as well. So we shouldn't have the systems close on and off. All right, so this is the inside of our hab station. Actually, not too bad whatsoever. We're gonna have a nice, good view here. And if we need to add stuff like a bathroom, and stuff like that, it's not gonna be too bad because we can just plop it here, like so. I mean, the only thing that's gonna look terrible is on the outside, where you're gonna see a bit of a block like that. But that's not a big deal. We could utilize the columns if we ever want to block that out. But it's nice to have it this way because if I want to add something as much as a bed, we have a nice little window to view out from it. So that is kind of the point of that. So now the other issue is a roof system. What do we want to use as a ceiling? Hope you guys did enjoy this episode. If you did, please hit that thumbs up, like the video. If you haven't done so yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to drop a comment down below. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.